everyone, and welcome back to Frequency Writer, Color the Magic, and Whole Soul Mastery. I'm Marie Mohler, and I'm an author and a creative spirit and a cosmic messenger of living a rich, empowered, inspired, and abundant life. And here we are in November 2024, soon to be December 2024. We're rounding out this year with some big booms, some big energy infusions. We just came through the US election in the United States. There's a lot of change and transformation, and I would say ascension shifts are happening on all levels, on all cylinders, in all directions. And I want to thank you for choosing to spend your time with me to review some of these frequencies of November. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some specific topics today that I think are relevant to your own ascension story. So let's take a deeper dive into that bigger picture, and let's take a deeper dive into reviewing some of those energies for November and December and ongoing in 2024 and 2025. Okay, so one of the topics that we're going to be reviewing is stage 9 of the hero's journey as outlined by Joseph Campbell. And that stage is called the reward. We're going to delve a little deeper into that today. We're going to talk about insights about our egos, illusions, psyops, and reclaiming what's true with a capital T. Right? Because many of you who've been listening for a long, long time on this particular channel, I spent a lot of video messages talking about the lowercase t and the uppercase T, and there's a big difference. So we're in this process of reclaiming what's true, like more absolute truth with a capital T. And we're also going to be reviewing some reflections on humanity, which humanity is Adam's and Eve's children today, right here, right now, today. Our invitation to return to the garden now, the true creation with, again, a capital T, which is the greatest soul adventure there is for the divine creative heroes who listen to messages like these, right? We are on the greatest ascension adventure of a lifetime, of a soul time. So let's take a deeper dive into the big picture review. And then I've got a lot of things planned today to plant some seeds in the garden that we're going to be talking about, this greater garden, for a while. I foresee talking about this topic for the times to come. So here we are talking about the big picture review. We are going to look at the energies of November 2024 and beyond, because every day we seem to be in that experience of the quantum quickening, the ascension acceleration. Many people are experiencing lots of energies like these. I hear people writing me, people call me, people are texting me, a lot of reflections of this similar energy that we're all kind of palpating right now. It's very palpable, these shifts. So I'm going to be planting some seeds today, more quantum breadcrumbs, as I like to say. They are ascension breadcrumbs too, right? All of the breadcrumbs help us put together this much bigger universal, this much bigger divine and eternal picture that we've spent lifetimes gathering little bits and pieces about ourselves. But these pieces also go together and connect in these like extreme dot to dots with people around us to form a much bigger picture about what the sacred truth is, what the divine truth is, what source truth is. So I want to say that these seeds that I'm going to be planting are here to empower you in the call back to the garden, the original Garden of Eden and the original creation, that original divine blueprint, in fact, and also the divine creative hero's invitation to the grandest ascension adventure of all time, of all time. I mean, the words epic now fall short. The words quantum, they don't quite capture this multidimensional layering of frequencies that are coming into our greater awareness for many of us. And if people aren't experiencing this, I think give it a little bit of time and more of us will be uncovering more of the moreness that we are. So for the call back to the garden and the hero's journey, in my opinion, may be parallel journeys, that hero's journey that Joseph Campbell outlined for us. And this call back to the garden, they're not two separate topics. They're very interwoven, interconnected frequencies and awarenesses that I think are very useful in these times. They're parallel timelines, which have bigger implications than many may imagine. So today we're going to talk about the reward, that's stage 9 of the hero's journey, right, as outlined by Joseph Campbell. And as we review stage 9 and that reward and all the details about that, I'm going to invite you to consider what the larger implications of what this reward might be now in these ascension times. What is the true reward or the ultimate reward for you now in your life in these times, right? It's something to really go into the muse, to take some deep breaths, maybe in meditation. Ask yourself these questions as you start to understand the reward as outlined by Joseph Campbell, and we have details around that. But I think there's many complementary details if we add in the ascension journey, paralleling the hero's journey or the creative divine hero's journey. It's all unfolding through us in these times, right? We're all on this ride of ascension. Whether people know this or not, it is happening. Like the earth is changing at a frequency level, and frequency is creation. So if it's changing at its frequency, at its core, at an energetic vibrational level, that means the change on an epic scale is in fact happening. Even though not everybody has the eyes and ears and senses to see and hear and know these things, it doesn't mean that change on this level isn't happening. I also am going to introduce the term Psyops as another important seed in this grand awakening and grand ascension process that is all a part of the grand return in that much bigger picture, right? Some of you may be familiar with that term and some may not. I will use movies like Operation Mincemeat and The Imitation Game to introduce these concepts today. Other films like Jumanji come to mind, Harry Potter, and more. There are plenty others out there that illustrate the layers of reality in our everyday lives. And I would say there's multiple layers, multidimensionality to reality that many are coming to see with clearer and clearer soul sight right now. So I'm going to invite you to consider if our soul stories, our karmic stories from this last world age and cycle might even possibly be a psyop that keeps us on the karmic treadmills of our lives, believing those soul patterns to be the dragon that we are battling often inside ourselves, when in fact those patterns and dragons may have been serpent seeded into the stories that our character has played again and again and again. What if those stories aren't true with a capital T of you or of me or of humanity? What if they are part of this larger, grander theater of a 3D matrix? It's just really interesting to be considering these things in these times, right? I'm just offering some information and some insights for each of you to sort of take in and see if it fits somewhere in the journey that you're on, or if this is something that doesn't resonate right now and you kick it out. It's okay. We're all on that journey to return to our divinity. And what if we are called to actually engage our own creation story, which is further back than any karma or psyops type stories that we may be living or have lived through many lifetimes, right? A lot of people, myself included, in times past were interested in our soul story kind of in the way of soul readings, which I have done for many years for a lot of people, wanting to know their soul story through time. But what I'm really starting to realize as I've stepped back from doing some of those things is that I don't think it's our soul story at all that we're really trying to uncover per se, because a lot of the soul stories, even though they can provide some information, some people get entangled with the information and then identify with those characters of themselves in other lifetimes and then trap themselves in the story of their character instead of getting deeper. And that's what I want to plant seeds about today. I feel like those that are hearing a call to go back and return to the garden, right? That Adam and Eve, where they originated, where humanity originated, it's our creation story. And our creation story for us as individuals and us as a sentient collective on this planet is rising, at least, certainly in my consciousness, to be among the most precious of journeys that we each have to make, which trumps any stories we have thought were important previously. So I'm not saying it's not interesting to find out if you are a cobbler or a king or a healer or a shaman. All those things give us little details of our soul threads, our soul stories, and our patterns through time. But what I find, and as you'll see today, I think it might become more and more relevant that we want to uncover our creation story, our true soul story, like the beginning of you, right? We want to hear the call of our true divine nature, our pure divine essence, and our innate divinity that Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker spent her lifetime educating humanity about. This was her message. There were so many times in so many different ways that she was saying, just be you. Just take a breath and feel that. Be the essence of what you already are. You don't have to go finding it. You are it. She was such a brilliant messenger of that. She is still a brilliant messenger of that. And that's part of why I'm going to bring in some Terry insights from some of our podcasts together, certainly some of her books, the things that she's written over the years, favorite quotes. These were some quotes that I remember her saying in podcasts with me. And then there was a recent podcast or something that just showed up in my feed recently, this week actually, from Terry Cole Whitaker's YouTube channel, because her partner Michael is continuing to share her work, as he should, because it's timeless wisdom for the age that we're entering and living in now. So let's talk about some of Terry Cole Whitaker's timeless teachings that relate to some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. As we continue to relate to the concept of whole iceberg living, like whole iceberg, the light and the shadow, the seen and the unseen, right? Weaving the two wolves inside us together into a grand wholeness of being. There were many messages over the years about those two wolves and finding sacred neutrality. Now we need to already be sort of embodying more of the two wolves, integrating that yin yang symbolism inside us, the frequencies of the yin yang in perfect harmonic balance. That's the way I see it. The two wolves, the white wolf and the dark wolf, and the legend of the two wolves are kind of spinning together now in this sacred balanced, this perfect toroidal spin in our energy fields, our chakra centers spinning perfectly with great health and vitality and prosperity, right? Alive with inspiration. We want to weave those two wolves inside us so they're not wrestling anymore. They're complementing each other in this perfect sacred balance and embodying the essence of our true nature, right? So as we continue to relate the concept of whole iceberg living, these two wolves inside us now finding their way into sacred balance and sacred neutrality and embodying the essence of our true nature, I have been reminded by Dr. Terry in her videos of the most amazing insights and teachings she gave to us. And here are three that I felt were worth noting today. I love that she talked about in the podcast you can find on my YouTube channel and other social media channels. She defined prosperity as this: prosperity is moving forward with enthusiasm. So let's keep exploring the garden together, right? With this divine enthusiasm, this momentum of inspiration and enthusiasm that is our sacred prosperity as a source of great prosperity in our lives right now. It might have helped to transcend some lack that other people who are not listening to messages like these aren't tapped into that kind of prosperity, that otherworldly prosperity, knowing it may not even be tangible worldly riches at first. It may be tapping into that well of enthusiasm that we have. And when we access that wellspring of enthusiasm, prosperity naturally follows. Dr. Terry and I did a podcast series together of the 8 steps to spiritual and earthly riches. You can find her blog about that on Substack. But Dr. Terry has about 8 messages where she was teaching each concept, each principle of those 8 steps on her Substack channel. So let's just feel that for a moment. Prosperity is moving forward with enthusiasm. And I don't know for me personally that there isn't a greater prosperity and a greater enthusiasm is to really tap into the frequencies of the original garden. I'm talking about the original blueprint for creation, but that also means the original blueprint for you, the original blueprint for prosperity, the original blueprint for divine health, the original blueprint for enthusiasm, for creativity. That is all present and represented and thriving in the garden. When I'm talking about the garden, it means all of these things. Another thing that Terry said, and it speaks even louder since she passed on October 22nd, 2024, just a few weeks ago. Terry was telling us again and again and again, you can't die. You are an eternal being, a divine spirit soul, right? We are here now to be our creation story, our divine spark, and all of its gifts and powers now, not in some other life, not in some future life, not in some lamented life. No, now, in this one. Such a powerful message. You can go to her YouTube channel, and I'm sure she has countless videos on that very topic, on how we can't die, that we are eternal beings, and we are a wellspring of creativity if we will tap into it. So the third thing I want to mention from Terry's timeless teachings is I'm going to reference her book that she wrote, What You Think About Me Is None of My Business. And I also want to reference a video that showed up in my feed this week. Even though it says it was posted 6 years ago, I'm not quite sure, but it showed up in my feed, and that's the screenshot you'll see on the screen in my slideshow. That's the video. It's titled, What You Think of You Is None of Your Business. Okay, and she expands on that in her video. Okay, so my interpretation of her saying that is what your ego thinks of you is none of your business, right? What your ego is attracted to knowing about you is none of your business, because that only serves to keep you trapped in the matrix. That only serves to keep you vibrating at the level of ego, at the level of your human identity, and not your spirit soul that Terry did such a beautiful job for decades and decades of time embodying and illustrating to all of us. So let's just say that I agree that what our egos think of us is none of our business. What our divine souls know of us is a lot more interesting. So I want to explore these things and more today, and I want to thank you for joining me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about planting seeds in the garden, because we are planting many gardens all the time. The relationship you have with your child is a garden you can tend. The relationship you have with your parents is a garden. The relationship you have with your work or your talents or your gifts, they are gardens. The relationship you have with yourself and your self-talk and maybe your soul talk, that's also a garden. So the conversation that I'm seeding today, I think, is a conversation about the garden that has many rooms in this grander castle, if you will, this garden, right? There's many segments of the garden, many aspects, but this metaphor, and I think this truth of the garden, is this vibrational reality of God's creation story in you that wants to come alive at a whole new level. So we're planting seeds for this garden to enter the gates of the garden again. And what is something that we've talked about many times on this channel, that admission to the garden, admission to the experiences you desire to have, admission is by vibration. It's all frequency based. When we've been in such a low dimensional garden, we've not even been in a garden. We've been in a 3D matrix. We left that garden. We have not been in a garden. We have to awaken to the fact that we have been living in the underbelly of creation. But how do we access the garden again? How do we find those gates? It's a vibrational journey more than anything. And that's what I want to bring back into the conversation, that admission to everything that you desire to experience, consciously or unconsciously, is happening vibrationally. It's your energy, it's your frequency, it's your vibrational field, right? So let's always remember that. And I will probably be seeding that in your consciousness in more conversations to come. It's revisiting things that we've talked about before, but it's a timeless and eternal truth. So we're going to talk about that again today, that to go through the gates and re-enter the Garden of Eden, like the garden of the true creation, the garden of your greatest gifts and talents and who you really are, your creation story, admission to all of that is by vibration. So we choose vibrationally with every thought we're thinking, every feeling we're having, every place that we focus our attention on. It's very important to be impeccable with our word, the things we say and feel and do, and all of those things, but be impeccable with our frequencies, right? We want to be impeccable with our frequencies as much as we can in very potent ascension times. So here's a question. What if our egos are what Terry Cole Whitaker called the mind virus? Or what if they are our skewed lenses of perception, maintaining our belief and focus into the 3D matrix, which keeps us not in the Garden of Eden, but actually the 3D matrix. This is not God's original creation. We are living in some strange, illusory experience that I think more and more people are going to be waking up to. And what if our karmic stories, our soul stories, that a lot of people will have soul readings? And again, I'm somebody that provided that to a lot of people. But what if those soul stories that were filled with all kinds of karmic stories, while they do provide some interesting details, they can be part of a movie that keeps us focused into the matrix of our soul story, and like a story that was written for our character in the 3D matrix, but that really isn't the true story of your divine spark. So what if our karmic stories are layerings of cosmic or serpent psyops? So we do have a mix of like cosmic and higher dimensional, perhaps, psyops in this window of time that we've been having this experience, and serpent psyops in the 3D matrix. And I'm beginning to suspect that maybe the entire 3D matrix is a psyop. And we're going to talk about what psyops are. How do you define that? What is the definition of that? And what's maybe some good movies that illustrate what psyops are? I've recently seen some, and I'm going to talk about those more today. So with these things, what if our egos are what Terry Cole Whitaker called the mind virus? What if our karmic stories that many people are, interested in finding out if they ever have a past life regression or somebody do a soul reading for them? What if even that is delving into psyops upon psyops of things that aren't really true about us? I think we need to get to our divine core, right? Our divine talents, our strengths, which is underneath all of those stories of the characters that we've played through time. Underneath all of those characters, there's more divine truths about who we are. And that's what I'm talking about. For me, that's what the true ascension journey is, to admit myself by my vibration to the original talents and gifts and special sparkle that I have. And I want to encourage you and anybody listening to these messages to find that enthusiasm, to engage that prosperity, that you also have the ability to go deep inside yourself and say, what are my soul's traits beyond my human traits, right? What are the human traits that kind of entertain me, that are part of my stories that maybe I've had some readings about? Now it's time to go deeper and not get caught up in all the fluff of those stories or the distractions of those stories, because that's what the 3D matrix wants us to do. It allows us to uncover this awareness that maybe we do, in fact, reincarnate again and again on this karmic loop of reincarnation. And what I want to suggest is maybe some of us are ready to get off that karmic loop and embody our soul light, like our God spark, if you will, and be that all the time and get off the treadmill of karmic experiences. So here's the last question. What if returning to the garden is a vibrational journey of seeking truth with a capital T, seeking light with a capital L, and unifying with source with a capital U and a capital S, right? What if this is the admission to the garden, this return to the garden? Admission is by vibration. It really calls us into a much higher level of soul sight so that we can access the frequencies that we desire to recover, reclaim, remember, and embody again. And then we will walk easily through the garden gates again and return to the original creation. But right now, I feel like the picture needs to be made bigger, not just our soul stories in a 3D matrix, but our creation stories in a divine creation. Do you see the difference? It's a very powerful insight and vibrational focus in these ascension times. And I hope that this is seeding some intrigue or some interest or some inquiry inside you to wonder about some of these things too. So with that said, I have a couple of quotes to review because we are going to be talking about Joseph Campbell's Stage 9, The Reward, because we're working our way through the hero's journey as told by Joseph Campbell. And he says, the adventure is its own reward, but it's necessarily dangerous, having both negative and positive possibilities, all of them beyond control. You know, there is this like tremendous inner hero or heroine inside all of us, but there are these inherent rewards inside us for stepping up in courage into the unknown, into these bigger experiences that we never thought the smallest parts of us were going to be able to handle. But amazingly, we do. I think we are in one gigantic hero's journey in the ascension journey. I think that they're paralleling each other, the hero's journey and the ascension journey. But I actually think that they really are just on the spiral of human experience. The hero's journey is the language for the 3D understanding of that, our human understanding of that. But then there's the higher dimensional knowing and engagement with that. And that is more of the ascension journey. And that's where everything becomes a whole lot more vibrational and less cerebral. So this is a powerful quote by Joseph Campbell. We're going to be reviewing stage 9 in a little bit more depth, but that's one quote that I found from Joseph Campbell where he is talking about rewards. Okay, this is another powerful quote, not talking about rewards, but there's a few here from Joseph Campbell that I wanted to spotlight today. The dreamer is a distinguished operatic artist, and like all who have elected to follow, not the safely marked general highways of the day, but the adventure of the special, dimly audible call that comes to those whose ears are open within as well as without. This is that sacred inner calling, that invitation that keeps coming again and again for all souls on this planet. It's the road less traveled still to this day, right? A lot of people stumble through it and don't even know that they're in it. But people who are spiritual seekers often bounce into Joseph Campbell's work, at least for a time, to uncover some of the language. I think there's an even more accurate language for like the ascension journey that somebody will eventually put together. They will take the insights of the hero's journey, they will take the insights of the heroine's journey, and they will weave those into a story of the ascension hero's journey, the divine, creative ascension hero's journey. But all of those journeys that we all make all have these characteristics that the dreamer is a distinguished operatic artist. And like all who have elected to follow, not the safely marked general highways of the day, right? We go off grid, we go off the path, we travel differently, we explore differently than the masses, right? We are seeking the truth, which often is not swimming with the salmon of the general mass consciousness, but the adventure of the special, dimly audible call that comes to those whose ears are open within as well as without, right? It's a level of expanding our senses, bigger, deeper, broader, in a more open, celestial way, where we can feel like this woman on the screen is. I just loved all those colors to bring that to life. So very powerful quote from Joseph Campbell, and something to go into the muse about a little bit. Here's another quote from Joseph Campbell, because we're going to be talking about the ego, we're going to be talking about the soul, we're going to be talking about soul sight and these bigger pictures. So here's a quote that says, "The hero, the waker of his own soul, is himself but the convenient means of his own dissolution." It's almost like we have to allow our ego's undoing. We, the divine creative hero, I'll say, the waker of our own souls, are ourselves, but the convenient means of our own dissolution. It's like we have to detach, neutralize, in other words, dissolve our connections and our attachment with the identity of our egos, which includes our human selves right now and the traits that we think make us who we are. Some of those traits might be relevant to your soul story, your creation story. But a lot of those traits, I think, for a lot of us have been 3D matrixified, if that's a word. A lot of our traits that were soul traits originally have become usurped by the matrix to serve the matrix. And that's why I think we're dissolving as we awaken our own soul. We are the convenient means of our own undoing, of the ego lens and filters and attachments inside ourselves. We are dissolving ourselves. We are dissolving our own attachments, our own acquiescing to the 3D matrix, complying with contracts that we didn't even know we made with the serpent's matrix just to survive in other lifetimes. And then we've just perpetuated the cycle because we've been on these karmic loops. And many of us listening to a message like this know that we're not complying fully with the serpent's matrix, but it doesn't mean that we're not still having the same belief systems that have maxed themselves out, that we can't fully enter the garden unless we understand that the true journey may be to access and call in and accept the call to the garden, to return to the original blueprint inside ourselves. And that's a whole different level of frequency. That's a whole different level of admitting ourselves by our vibration back in the garden. So that's a very powerful quote to me. That one right there, that sentence. The hero, the waker of his own soul, is himself, but the convenient means of his own dissolution. We have to dissolve our own connections with the 3D matrix where we're still tethered and really turn to the questions that I'm asking, at least as a starter seed. What is my creation story? What are my divine gifts and talents that live beyond the story of me in this usurped 3D matrix and all of my lifetimes in it, right? It's seeing a much bigger cosmic picture of ourselves. Okay, and I really love this quote. It's a final quote from Joseph Campbell right now. Only birth can conquer death. The birth, not of the old thing again, but of something entirely new. And I'm going to relate that to the garden. We were in the garden originally, right? Seated by Adam and Eve and the divine blueprint of perfection of God's first created human beings, right? First male and first female on the planet. Well, then we descended and devolved into this whole fall from grace experience that I am just wondering, has it been one massive, somehow multidimensional psyop of all kinds of layers of story that were never true in the first place, but we've allowed ourselves at soul level to get mired within it? I feel this quote, only birth can conquer death, the birth not of the old thing again, but of something new. To return to the garden is not to try and resurrect the 3D matrix and make the 3D matrix better, make the 3D matrix be a 5D matrix. No, we're not trying to resurrect the old 3D matrix. We're actually stepping into a whole other octave, which makes it something entirely new, even if some of the original structures or parcels of land or whatever are repurposed in a higher frequencied way. When this happens in spaces, places, with people, with themselves, and you actually have like your own rebirthing process in your ascension process, because there's the death of the ego version of you and all the karmic ties to all those other timelines. There is a new you emerging. There is a new frequency emerging in you. And I love the light that's shining through this woman who's like meditating, right? It's just, she's just soaking in the soul codes that are streaming through divine creation to activate and remind her that she is an aspect of that bright sun. That's how bright we are. That's how powerful we are. I think we want to, when we return to the garden, it's at a whole new level of sunlight. It's at a whole new level of light codes and frequencies, because we will take all the lessons that we've learned. We just don't need all the baggage of the trauma and the pain of an illusion or a psyop that may have been running for the last 6,000 or so years, right? Very, very powerful. Okay, I have two slides that tie in some of these concepts of the mind and the ego and the false mind and illusions. So Terry Cole Whitaker says, the cause of misery, death, and all personal and collective problems is rooted in the mind, the false copy mind. The real divine mind is transcendental, the witness without thinking. Divine mind is without thoughts. It's all-knowing and eternally blissful. Trying to solve problems by thinking about them never produces a permanent solution, because this false mind creates all the problems, whereas divine mind and our inner guidance bring forth solutions for our greatest good and the greatest good for all. I love that from you, Terry. You're still with us. I feel Terry is going to continue to speak through so many messengers of Terry's messages, but I appreciate the opportunity to still be one of those beings. And I'm going to continue to bring insights. And if you go back to some of the podcasts, you'll hear this quote in a lot of what Dr. Terry was saying in our conversations together, right? That there is this false mind. It's not the divine mind. And that makes me wonder, this was not her language, but as I add my language to her messages, is it possible that this false copy mind she's talking about is a layer of a psyop, which you, for right now, until we talk about psyops, which we're going to do in a minute, but that you think about it as an illusion? It's an illusory mind. It's an illusory mind that we think is thinking divine thoughts, but it actually is contracted with the serpent. It's contracted. It's much smaller. It's a fake. It's a copy. It's false. It's a filter that's false and a copy and fake, right? It cannot possibly reflect to us who we really are as divine, eternal beings. We have to call forth the divine mind, right? And our divine soul essence and that inner guidance coming from our heart space that never left connection with source. That's where the solutions and the manifestations and the prosperity for our greatest good and the greatest good for all comes through us. So very beautiful. And I'm grateful for that message from Terry. And here's another message from Terry as well. So in this quote, Terry is basically saying mind alone is the cause of the bondage or the freedom of the soul. By the attachment of the mind to the world, we become bound. By the devotion of the mind to God presence within as the soul of every soul, we become free. It's like the choice is ours, right? We admit ourselves by vibration. We could admit ourselves through the minds that are still tethered to the 3D matrix and 3D thought processes into bondage, or we can transcend that bondage and enter the divine mind and become free, right? The invitation and the opportunity is always there to be as free as this man on the screen in this slide, right? We want to be open and wide and free. Many people pray for this, but they continue to put themselves in bondage every day by the small thoughts, the contracted thoughts, those possibly ego thoughts, and whatever the ego is contracted with a 3D matrix to serve, which could also be entities. It could also be lower frequencies. It could be ancestral patterns that keep you tamped down and incarcerated in some way. Terry spent a lot of time focusing on the mind and the trap that it is and the mind virus that it can be. So with that said, I want to talk a little bit more about this movie called Operation Mincemeat. So Operation Mincemeat is a gripping nonfiction book written by Ben McIntyre, published in 2010. It revolves around one of the most audacious and successful deception operations of World War II, orchestrated by the British intelligence agencies in an attempt to mislead the Nazi forces. The book masterfully tells the true story behind Operation Mincemeat, a top-secret plan developed by the British during the height of the Second World War. It follows the meticulous planning, execution, and aftermath of a complex scheme that involved planting a false identity on a dead body and letting it fall into enemy hands. Okay, they basically allowed a false identity, a false story, with great strategy, fall into enemies' hands because they wanted that information in the enemy's hands. Do you see? So the narrative begins in this movie with the identification of a suitable cadaver, a homeless man named Glindor Michael, who had died of poisoning, and the subsequent creation of a fictitious character for him. Major Martin, a British officer, was fabricated as a Royal Marine courier, carrying top-secret documents that indicated an Allied invasion was imminent. These documents were cleverly placed in a briefcase chained to the wrist of the deceased man. The British intelligence agencies MI5 and MI6 then launched a series of events to ensure the credibility of the ruse. They fabricated a false personal life for Major Martin, complete with love letters, receipts, and other items that would lend authenticity to his character. They even went to great lengths to ensure that the body was discovered by German forces, planting the clues that hinted at a possible invasion of Greece instead of the intended target, Sicily. This article goes on. You can see this at bookkey.app. And again, hopefully I can maybe remember to put the link to this in the description section of the video. If I don't, please remind me. But you can find more information. This was a great description of the film. You can find it on many of your streaming platforms. But I learned about it a few years ago, and it really helped put a lot in perspective when it's hard to know what to trust with the news, the fake news, the alternative news, the legacy news, the New Earth news or the truthers, the people giving, alternative sorts of information coming out. There's so many layers. And I would say there are so many Psyops. Psyops stands for psychological operations that are strategically used to purposefully confuse or deceive. And now I have a couple of quotes from the movie to put on the screen just to sort of see if you can feel the energy of what Operation Mincemeat is showing us. This was just one PSYOP operation that had lots of components to it, but it's just one operation. Imagine if we've been living in lifetimes of many, many, many PSYOPs planted largely by serpentine factions, serpentine leadership, serpentine tyrants and tyranny, to have people under the guise and under the lens and under the trick or the magic trick of the dark magic. There's so many things that we've been sold as the way creation is, but remember, it's the ruse, it's the psyop. So Operation Mincemeat, if you watch that movie, it really does illustrate these successful deception operations that they use as military strategy, but I'm not so sure this hasn't been serpent strategy. And it's also used, I believe, by the good guys. It's also used by the white hats and the black hats. I think in this complete illusory matrix, there's been this use of deception by both sides to win the ultimate final spiritual battle. And that is what's coming to a close. That's what's coming to a culmination, I guess I should say, a crescendo in the times we're living in. And within this decade, especially from 2020 to 2030, we are experiencing this full force right now. And it helps at least to have a language of psyops, psychological operations, the conscious and strategic use of deception operations to win the spiritual battle. We're all going through it. And here are some quotes from the Operation Mincemeat movie that might help you understand just a little bit better the flavor of what psyops are. So this is one quote from Operation Mincemeat. The success of an operation depends on the willingness of others to believe in it. Just feel that for a second. Look at this person, haggard, exhausted because of taxes and the IRS forms and slogging away, where a big chunk of your paycheck goes back to the government to fund probably things, not things that you think, but many other operations that probably in these layers of psyops, they don't ever even tell us what those are for. But the power in this phrase is the success of an operation. It absolutely depends on the willingness of others to believe in it. And then just insert taxes. Humanity has been paying taxes since Babylonian times because they got humanity to believe that we needed to pay taxes since Babylonian times. We're waking up from the psyops. I don't think we're going to be paying taxes like we've been paying for much longer. There might be different ways to fund certain things that different countries and places in the world need, but not the kind of taxation that we've been under for forever. And I also believe we, the people, will have a say in what this is, instead of these people who are kind of installed into office with no term limits, where we can't ever change the regime of thinking and the propaganda and these psyop operations that they roll out on us again and again. I think we're moving into a new era of transparency, and we're just at the beginning stages of that. And so an ending is an ending of the tyranny of these psyops, and also the introduction of greater transparency. We're going to see both of those worlds overlapping. Here's another quote. To deceive is not just to lie, but to create a whole new reality. That's what they had to do with that Major Martin in Operation Mincemeat. They had to completely fabricate all of the details of his life to make him such a credible character. He wasn't a character. He was a living human being who is now dead, who is now deceased. But he was so believable, it had to pass all the, for lack of a better phrase, sniff tests. He had to look and appear completely authentic, where a lot of those details were check-outable. Those details, if the Germans were checking into them, could be verified, right? To deceive is not just to lie, but to create a whole new reality. Look at what that person is pushing the boulder up the hill, like that character in mythology. I can never remember his name, but it's a never-ending battle. This never-ending deception, cycles of deceptions and layers of psyops again and again and again. What if the ultimate psyop is that this whole 3D matrix? What if in the garden, this deception is somehow a serpent's realm that our consciousness gave energy to, and we fell from grace into this reality that was created through complete deception with the serpent, right? The temptations and the deception and all of that. And what if the way to get back to the garden is to wake up to the deception, to wake up to the psyops, to wake up to things like Operation Mincemeat that are finally finding their way into movies, because it's time for humanity to know this has been used as a military strategy for a long time, but it's really been used as a 3D matrix strategy since the beginning of our fall from grace. So I see us that to wake up out of the deception of this whole new reality that was created, this fall from grace, this 3D matrix, this underbelly of creation, we have to awaken to the truth of the garden and see the psyops and the layers of deception for what they are. That's why being a truth seeker can help the ascension process immensely. I'm not so sure you can wake up out of the illusion if you're not willing to believe and to go seeking of the truth that can set things free, that can set your soul free, so that your mind, just like Terry was saying, is that mind can be subjected to bondage if you're willing to be bonded, right? If you're willing to be in bondage or in incarceration. Those that wake up and say, no, 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 I no longer comply. I'm no longer complicit. I'm not saying yes. I do not consent. I do not consent. We begin to wake up to movies like Operation Mincemeat, that the whole world maybe may not know about this movie, but those who are curious about how is the deception unfolding, you can find it in films like this. Okay, two more quotes from the movie Operation Mincemeat to just illustrate the power of psyops as strategies in a military battle, but also a spiritual battle. The art of deception lies in making the unbelievable believable. That's the task that they have in this film in Operation Mincemeat. They have to make the unbelievable completely believable. And you'll see in that film that they, in fact, succeed in doing this. It's extraordinary. And to realize it's based on a true story, it kind of gives us pause to see, how long has this been going on? And what deceptions might I be participating in? And how can I extricate myself from the deceptions, step into the truth of God, and put myself into a higher vibrational timeline that welcomes in the garden, where I admit myself by my vibration back to the garden. Okay, and the last slide about Operation Mincemeat and this concept of psyops and deceptions as military strategy and in the spiritual battle. In the game of deception, knowing when to reveal the truth is just as important as knowing when to conceal it. That's powerful. And that slide says time for truth. But those running the psyops, those running the layers of humanity's perceptions on a collective level and individual level, they walk a fine line on when to reveal the truth and when to conceal it and how to conceal it. And there's a lot of people under NDAs, which is non-disclosure agreements. I imagine, I'm not in the military and I'm not really from a military family. I'll just say, I imagine that this goes on, that there are people at certain level of rank that are in the know. And then at different levels of the tier of hierarchy, they don't know what they don't know. And so that's how the people who think they're doing great works could actually be serving a pretty dark agenda. Or vice versa. People who think something is very dark, they could actually be serving a very good agenda. So, I mean, deception has been here since the garden. And it really makes me think, are we in some kind of like vibrational psyop in this reality? And we know there's many other timelines. There's been many other lifetimes. There's multidimensionality in this creation and in this universe. At least for me, I know that. And, I just would invite you to consider this, to at least think about it, which means you have a lot of power to change your story. If you don't like the story and the life experiences you're having, you are the author of that experience. It's not that the 3D matrix gets to write it for you. It will in your absence. But if you'll claim the pen, if you'll claim being the creator and the author, you have the power to ascend your frequency back into the garden again. And that's important. That was also in Once Upon a Time, that series based on like storybook characters like Snow White and the Evil Queen and Prince Charming and Cinderella and all those kinds of characters. That also showed this kind of, they were playing out their roles, but in different dimensions. In that series, they show that they're other versions of themselves and they're not the same. They're not identical. They've had different experiences. They've had different lenses on those experiences, which means their personality is a little bit different in the different realms. It's powerful. I mean, Hollywood and a lot of these filmmakers, maybe not all Hollywood, but the filmmakers of recent decades have been in part showing us psyops and in part showing us the truth. And if you can look at movies with, bigger, broader, more awakened lenses, you'll see that there's a lot of messages in there for us if we know how to decode it. Very powerful. Okay, so let's quickly take a deeper dive into stage 9 of the hero's journey, because again, this is paralleling our ascension journeys. There's the human version of us going through heroes and heroines journeys. At the same time, there's a very soul essence of us that is growing in quantum leaps and bounds to rise and admit ourselves by vibration and frequency into God's original creation. It is the return. It is the return. So what is required in this hero's journey? Transformation and change. And in recent videos, I'll just review quickly for people who have not seen this, and maybe you all like this review again. The acronym CHANGE, this was not my language, it was taken somewhere from the internet. But C can stand for compassion, H for healing, A for awareness, N for nurture, G for growth, and E for empowerment. Those are very important frequencies in an ascension journey to travel with as soul companions. Okay, and then in the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, in his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, gives us a parable that can be broken down into 3 stages that spotlight this universal, hero's journey story that many of us have traveled on many loops for many, many lifetimes. You've got the initiation story, you've got the journey, and you've got the return. Those are 3 different stages of the hero's journey. We are in the return now, talking about stage 9. In the return, the hero refuses to return to the ordinary world, instead choosing to seize the boon or the reward. So here are the 12 stages of the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell outlines. The ordinary world is number 1. Number 2, the call to adventure. Number 3, refusal of the call. Number 4, meeting the mentor. 5, crossing the threshold. 6, tests allies and enemies. 7, approach to the inmost cave. 8, the ordeal. 9, the reward, seizing the sword. After overcoming the ordeal, the hero achieves a triumph or gains a valuable insight, symbolized by seizing the sword. 10, the road back. 11, the resurrection. And 12, return with the elixir. So we still have several stages in the hero's journey to cover in the next number of weeks ahead, until the end of the year, really. But the reward is what we're focusing on here today, seizing the sword. And it's not lost on me that we covered most recently the ordeal, stage 8, and we just went through a major election. And, there's different people on different sides of duality, and duality is such a big part of the 3D matrix, pitting one side against the other side, when I think, in truth, most human beings want the same things, like food and safety and shelter for their families and loved ones, and everybody to have a good life and being healthy. I think at the core of who we are, we all want very similar things. But in the duality of the 3D matrix and the psyops that pulls the 2 wolves, instead of being complementary, now they're enemies, right? That is so a serpent game. So let's talk about the reward and seizing the sword. What does that really mean? When I did a Brave search, I got a couple of slides here for you. According to Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, Stage 9, the reward is a crucial moment where the hero achieves their goal or objective. The stage is characterized by fulfillment. The hero's efforts and struggles culminate in a sense of satisfaction, accomplishment, and fulfillment. Recognition, the hero's achievement is acknowledged and celebrated, often by others, but also by themselves. And validation, the hero's identity and sense of self are reinforced as they realize their capabilities and the value of their journey. It's like the hero at the summit of the mountain, right? Having climbed all the way up through storms and all kinds of challenges and maybe some ferocious beasts or something. And they're at the summit, they're at the crest of the mountain. And they take a moment to soak in the reward of seeing 360 with complete transparency in all directions. That must be a sweet spot for all the people that are hikers and that know that feeling at the summit of a mountain. That's what I think of when I feel the energy of the reward. Okay, examples from various stories and myths illustrate this stage. But Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption escapes from prison and finds financial freedom, symbolizing his reward. Odysseus returns home to his loving wife, Penelope, after his 10-year journey, marking his ultimate reward. And then the Iowa cornfield, or in Field of Dreams, becomes a sacred space, fulfilling the hero's, Ray Kinsella, desire to connect with his father and find redemption, right? I think you can all feel the elements of the rewards for each of them: financial freedom, returning to a loving wife after so much time away, and then a desire to reconnect with a father and have that redemptive experience. Okay, those are examples of the reward. Campbell emphasizes that the reward is not an end in itself, but rather a natural consequence of the hero's journey. It is essential to note that the reward is not solely material or external. It can also be an inner transformation, a newfound understanding, or a sense of purpose. In essence, stage 9, the reward, serves as a culmination of the hero's struggles, marking a turning point where they can reflect on their growth, integrate their experiences, and prepare for the next stage of their journey, which is the road back. Okay, that comes in the next few stages that we'll review in the next few weeks. But this is powerful. It's a moment to just soak in and feel that affirmation, feel that validation, feel that satisfaction, feel the meaning in the inner transformation unfolding, and being able to pull a literal sword out of a stone. I mean, all these things can mark this particular stage of the hero's evolution, that reward. Okay. And I have one more slide that speaks a little more detail about the reward, just so that I make it more clear and we can really bathe in the insights about what this is, because what's happening with the hero's journey is also happening on higher levels in our ascension journey, just in different vibrational octaves. So according to Joseph Campbell, the reward of following one's bliss is not a tangible outcome, but rather a state of being. He believed that when we pursue our passions and deepest desires, we tap into a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. This is encapsulated in his famous quote: "The adventure is its own reward, but it's necessarily dangerous, having both negative and positive possibilities, all of them beyond control." We listened to that in the beginning. Now, in another quote, Campbell emphasizes the importance of embracing uncertainty and living the questions when he says this: "The most uncomfortable but essential part of finding your bliss," Campbell argues, "is the element of uncertainty, the willingness to, in the timeless words of Rilke, live the questions rather than reaching for the ready-made answers." Campbell's philosophy suggests that the reward lies not in achieving a specific goal, but in the journey itself. By embracing the unknown and following our inner guidance, we can discover new dimensions of ourselves, and experience a deeper sense of fulfillment. When I hear that new dimensions, I think that ascension hero, that ascension aspects of us that want to flourish, the parts of ourselves, our DNA coming online, all that junk DNA that we have inside us that they've told us is just no bother, nothing to see here. No, that's very important, because that's what's going to come alive as more of humanity begins to wake up to the deceptions and the psyops and the usurpations and the propaganda. All the games that have been played to keep this 3D matrix alive for 6,000 plus years, right, now have to come to a close. So as we are in that journey and we go into our inner life, we go into our inner sight, we access our inner light, we live the questions rather than reaching for the ready-made answers, because the serpent's done such a good job of giving us the answers. In fact, we've been forced to rehearse the serpent's answers in the educational system that trains whole generations of people how to think the way the serpent wants us to think. We have to think outside that box. We have to seek alternative information, and we have to go within to listen for resonance and seek source and seek the truth with a capital T. Very powerful, the layers of energy that the reward can bring into our life. Yes, it can be a literal sword, but most often what Joseph Campbell is really inviting us to see, and I would say somebody who speaks the ascension journey language, it's much more intangible. It's much more finding your soul's gifts, your soul's talents, courage you never thought you had before. finding a sense of certainty and security in trusting uncertainty in the unseen when God is your compass, when source is your compass in these times. And maybe there's no better time right now than after a recent election in the United States that affects the world globally. What happens here does touch other countries. And I think as things continue to shift and grow and change here in the US, things will also be seen to be changing and shifting in the other countries too. We're seeing this reflective or mirrored change happening for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. Those are also some of the rewards. When other people don't think anything's happening and life is moving on as usual, we actually get these most beautiful rewards when we can see that God is on the move, flipping the tables on the serpent and setting creation free. That's a big reward. And that brings me back to the conversation of returning to the garden, the return to the garden, even just turning to the garden and recognizing that's from where we came. That's the creation story that is who we are. It's not all the characters, details of all the different films and theater projects you've been in for lifetimes. I'm saying metaphorically, all the different slices of you, your soul story through 3D time. I'm saying there's this calling inside us to really want to seek out what are the aspects of us that are the truest aspects of us, that are our truest gifts and talents from God's original creation of us. That's the part of me I want to get to know again. That's the part of me that's happening and that's unfolding and that's emerging as I shift what I'm doing in these videos. And it also provides a different way of accessing information for me in a more holistic, integrated way, not channeling energies and beings outside myself, but allowing my own soul to recover who I am at my creationary core, at the original divine God spark that I was created to be. And that's what I'm inviting you to also look into and to also explore, because there's great rewards in that journey, even if it's also uncertain, even if we also don't know exactly where the journey's leading us. I would say it's leading us back to ourselves, the creation story of us, the true version of us. Okay, so just to recap some of what we've talked about, when we've talked about the reward and the hero's journey, we're also talking about the reward of the garden, the return. So what is the ultimate reward in our current stage of the ascension process unfolding on the planet right now? What is that ultimate reward? What is humanity seeking? What have we lost? What are we seeking that we've lost? What if we allow ourselves to explore being the Adams and Eves now, today, returning to the garden, the only garden that ever existed in the true divine creation? What if it is time not just for the separation experiment to end, but for the true ascending daughters and sons of Adam and Eve to rise, remember, and reclaim the Garden of Eden, first through the inner work it takes to vibrationally be a match to its gifts, grace, and abundance? It is an inner journey. It's a vibrational journey. It's a vibrational destination at first. And then I think as you become the frequencies of the garden, I believe we also will see that Garden of Eden materialize before our eyes. We are not at probably that maximum threshold that flips the planet into that experience, but every single soul that spends time in as a true ascending daughter and son of Adam and Eve, who's rising, remembering, and reclaiming the energies and the truth of the garden through that inner work to match its gifts, grace, and abundance, we're ushering it in. It's powerful. What if this is the greatest hero's or heroine's journey right now? What if this is the greatest journey of all time to be on? The journey of the great return to what is, was, and eternally will be. It's our union with God in the garden of divine creation. These are the times we're living in. Many may not see it, but these, in my opinion, are what the true tasks are before us. And those that answer the call to do this inner work and to make these vibrational shifts receive entrance to the garden, right? We are at this time of the great return. And I couldn't be more excited and enthusiastic and optimistic about the timeline trajectory we're on. I truly believe we've just had some quantum leaps. I think we're on a higher octave timeline than we were on before. And now we're going to start to see more things materialize. It doesn't mean that there won't be twists and turns and tests and allies and enemies and all the bits and pieces of the hero's journey in a 3D context or an ascension journey context. We're going to have more tests, soul tests, because all of those tests and those approach to the inmost cave and the ordeals and the rewards and all of these things are preparing us for the ultimate battle that still for some comes later in the journey in the next couple of stages. We have not faced all that we need to face yet. But by doing the work, we start to uncover the awareness that we can face anything that we need to face. And the ultimate divine reward is entering the garden again. For most souls, this is what most of us want deep down. A lot of people don't have the language, but I believe many are ready to return. So, with that said, I have a number of songs prepared for you today. There's a good many of them, about 10 to 13. So I want to thank you for joining me through the conversational part of this video. And if you feel so inspired, I invite you to stay with me. We'll play some of these songs. We'll talk about some of their messages. And then I will also post these songs as a separate video that you can play in the Color the Magic, the music playlist that I've been making for you and posting on YouTube as well as on my Substack channel. And if you were somebody who once was subscribed, or if you'd like to subscribe, you'll see a link to join my Substack. That's where I'm communicating with my audience there. I post mostly videos that also I post on YouTube, but I also have some that I don't post anywhere else. And I intend that there will be more videos and messages that I don't post anywhere else that I will only post on Substack. So if you feel inclined to listen to this conversation about the garden, join me at frequencywriter.substack.com. Okay, so let's have a listen to the first song. It's aptly called The Sword in the Sown for the stage 9 of the hero's journey, The Reward.
In the heart of a storm we stand tall and alone, chasing echoes of dreams, seeking the unknown. With iron will for strength and fire in our veins, we'll conquer every mountain, break through all chains. The path is rugged, fierce shadows at our heels, facing trials and fears with unwavering feels. In the darkest moments a hero will rise, guided by the constellations burning in the skies. Collect the sword in the stone, our destiny unveiled. Transform the pain to gain, our power never failed. From ashes we ascend, like phoenix to the sun. We'll rise above the tests until the battle's won. Every stumble, every scar we wear with pride. It's the journey, not the end, where our truths reside. With hearts of gold and souls so bold, we've made our stand. Integrity our compass as we reach for promised land. Through the labyrinth of life we've journeyed far and wide, rising beyond the trials where our courage hides. Resolution in our eyes, we embrace the dawn. A warrior within us, a champion reborn. Collect the sword in the stone, our destiny unveiled. Transform the pain to gain, our power never fail. From ashes we ascend, like phoenix to the sun. We'll rise above the tests until the battle's won.
Okay, that's a powerful song, The Sword and the Stone, singing very much the frequencies of the human hero's journey for sure, and the trials and the tests. But I did like the chorus that says this: from ashes we ascend like phoenix to the sun, we'll rise above the tests until the battle's won. And for us, when the battle's won, the reward is, in my view, and I'll invite you to consider this too, is the garden, is to return to divine creation and to exit this 3D matrix altogether. Very beautiful song, The Sword and the Stone, to honor stage 9 of the hero's journey, the reward. Okay, song number 2 is called Rise Transformed, also speaking to stage 9, the reward.
In the shadows we were searching in the night, lost in dreams we thought we'd never find the light. But the journey called us forth without a sound. Through the darkness we rose up from the ground. Battles fought within our hearts, we felt so small. Every challenge, every tear, we faced them all. Ego shattered like the dawn, we saw anew. Authenticity, our guiding star, so true. We rise from the ashes, we are fire. Transformed, reborn, we climb higher. With the gifts we found, we'll inspire every soul to dream, to never tire. To unfold. In the mirror we are brave, we are bold. Surrendered unto self where truth resides. Find the strength within the heart where hope abides. The echoes of the past, they fade away. We're the light that leads the way. Together standing tall side by side. In our truth we forever confide. We rise from the ashes, we are fire. Transformed, reborn, we climb higher. With the gifts we found, we'll inspire every soul to dream, to never tire. We are fire. Transformed, reborn, we climb higher. With the gifts we found, we'll inspire every soul to dream, to never tire. Every hero has a story to unfold. In the mirror we are brave, we are bold.
I love that song, Rise Transformed, and I love that imagery of the phoenix rising. There are several lyrics that I wanted to spotlight here. Every hero has a story to unfold. In the mirror, we are brave, we are bold. In the mirror of the creation story, we are brave, we are bold. In the mirror of the 3D matrix, we often feel much smaller than that, more contracted, more challenged, more stressed. So it's important that we look in the proper mirror, right? Inside ourselves, into our divine selves, into source that is the only essence that can reflect who we truly are. And then also, I like these lyrics of the chorus: we rise from the ashes, we are fire. Transformed, reborn, we climb higher. With the gifts we found, we'll inspire every soul to dream, to never tire. We must keep going in the journey, right? So powerful. But like that phoenix, we are reborn again and again as we continue to strengthen and gain the skills that only come from entering the uncertainty, entering the unseen, entering the unknown with God as our GPS system and lifeline. So important. Okay, the next song is called The Hero's Return.
Shadow of the mountain high, I walk through valleys where echoes cry, but in the darkness I found my sign, a spark of hope, a star aligned. Through the storm and the raging sea, the wind did whisper, come follow me. In the struggle I found my core, each step of pain, an open door. Rising from trials, I'm born anew, with the strength of heart and spirit to through fire and rain. I've come to see the hero's path has made me free. In the memory of battles past, I hold the lessons that forever last. Transformed by scars I wear with pride, embracing life with arms open wide. Endurance kept me on my quest, resilience shown amidst the test. With every fall I learn to rise, a beacon light up to the skies. Rising from trials, I'm born anew, with the strength of heart and spirit to through fire and rain. I've come to see the hero's path has made me free. In the memory of battles past, I hold the lessons that forever last. Transformed by scars I wear with pride, embracing life with arms open wide. Rising from trials, I'm born anew, with the strength of heart and spirit to through fire and rain. I've come to see the hero's path has made me free. The hero's path has made me free.
I enjoyed that song too. I love the energy of transforming scars and embracing life and opening the doors inside us that where the challenges have tested us to our core. And the chorus line I really like, the hero's path has made me free. Yeah, it's so powerful when we can really start to see those two wolves in the hero's journey, the human hero's story, and then the ascension, divine creative hero that's journeying parallel. It's like those are also kind of two sides of the duality that are coming into wholeness. It's our, for lack of better language, it's our 3D version and our 5D or higher dimensional versions merging into one, but they're both on a journey right now and they don't need to battle each other. That would be something the serpent would like. But if we can allow this integration, this awareness of kind of the map that Joseph Campbell gave us, there's also a map for the heroine's journey that Justy Renson has been giving us. And then there's this map of the ascension hero's journey, all coming into wholeness now, probably trying to help activate that dormant DNA inside us as well, which is based on light. Okay, the next song is called We've Come a Long Way. I really love this song. It's a really beautiful one. Let's have a listen.
have come a long way to remember the light and the joy of who we are. No chains can hold our spirit down. We're guided by an ancient star. Authenticity is calling out. Only the heart can hear the trace. Invitations to live free beyond the shadow's embrace. Through the mist and ancient trees, we find the path to our true being. In whispers of the brook we hear a song of freedom softly singing. Authenticity is calling out. Only the heart can hear the trace. Invitations to live free beyond the shadow's embrace. The drumbeats echo in the night, a dance of wisdom pure and wide. We let go of the ego's fight to return to our inner child. Lanterns light the way ahead, leading us to our sacred ground. With open hearts we journey on. In the circle we are bound. Authenticity is calling out. Only the heart can hear the trace. Invitations to live free beyond the shadow's embrace. We find the path to our true being. In whispers of the brook we hear a song of freedom softly singing. Authenticity is calling out. Only the heart can hear the trace. Invitations to live free beyond the shadow's embrace. Drumbeats echo in the night, a dance of wisdom pure and wild. We let go of the ego's fight to return to our inner child. Lanterns light the way ahead, leading us to our sacred ground. With open hearts we journey on. In the circle we are bound.
That was really lovely, wasn't it? We've come a long way. I think many of us who can feel the depth and breadth of our lifetimes here can really feel that on a whole other level than just the human journey this lifetime. We have come a long way. And the lyrics that I wanted to spotlight from this song, we've come a long way to remember the light and the joy of who we are. Authenticity is calling out. Only the heart can hear the trace. Invitations to live free beyond the shadow's embrace. That's that calling to the garden. We're ready to live free. So many of us are ready to live free. We just have to get out of the vibrational habits that keep us oriented still to the games and tricks and distractions of the 3D matrix and take all that energy that we free up in that process once we don't give it away so freely to the matrix and we direct our attention back to the garden, back to the blueprint of creation, back to source where it belongs. Okay, the next few songs are all about the garden. So this one is called Return to the Garden.
was cast. Adam walked brave, firm and steadfast. The Father's image, a perfect mold, with heart of fire, yet spirit bold. In Eden's arms he found his Eve, two hearts as one, free to believe. In union pure their love did shine, a bond eternal in Eden's shrine. In Eden's shrine, it's time to return to where we started. Reunite with God, hearts open-hearted. Embrace the path of love divine. In the garden once again we'll find. Through trials, clouds and tears we lost our way, forgot the light hid from the day. But now we rise, hearts filled with grace, to meet our Maker face to face. From the dust we rise anew, the spark within sows what is true. In heaven's light our souls align, with God's own love let's intertwine. So let's cast off the chains of fear, the garden calls, its voice is clear. In nature's hymn we find our part, let's make a home in God's own heart. It's time to return to where we started. Reunite with God, hearts open-hearted. Embrace the path of love divine. In the garden once again we'll find. So let's cast off the chains of fear, the garden calls, its voice is clear. In nature's hymn we find our part, let's make a home in God's own heart.
Beautiful song, Return to the Garden. It really activates and elevates a lot of frequencies there for all of us. I hope you can feel some of that. Definitely some references, certainly to Adam and Eve, basically God's perfect divine blueprints. And it's time to return to where we started. And I love this line, let's cast off the chains of fear. The garden calls, its voice is clear. And again, if we parallel the call to adventure and the invitation to the garden, there is a clarion call that's been sent out. And I think many of us are feeling it and maybe asking ourselves, how do I respond? How do I engage? How do I embody more of that? I think we also maybe need to do some research on the creation story and go back as far as we can that gets beyond the stories that were given to us about us in the serpent's theater in this 3D matrix, and really do some work to uncover what are your soul gifts that are beyond the frequencies of karma and the traumas that we've been through. Who are you if you weren't your traumas? Who are you if you weren't your karma? It's very powerful. So yes, I love that song, Return to the Garden. Basically, cast off the chains of fear. The garden calls, its voice is clear. The next song is Back to Eden. Let's have a listen.
Ego stripped away, ooh yeah. Spirit shines today, ooh yeah. Ready for the light, ooh yeah. Union feels so right, ooh yeah. A abundance in the air, ooh, yeah. Well-being everywhere, ooh, yeah. Life is meant to be, ooh, yeah. Free for you and me, ooh, yeah. The garden calls us home, home, oh yeah. Adam's, Eve's, we roam, 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 oh yeah. Today it's us, we're free, 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 back to Eden. See, see, oh yeah. Mountains touch the skies, ooh yeah. Nature never lies, ooh yeah. Flowers in our hair, ooh yeah. Love is in the air, ooh yeah. The garden calls us home, home, oh yeah. Adam's, Eve's, we roam, 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 oh yeah. Today it's us, we're free, 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 back to Eden. See, see, oh yeah. Feel the softest breeze, breeze, dancing in the trees, trees, yeah. Life's a simple song, song, in this place belong, long, long.
I love that one. Wow, there's so many frequencies in these, and it'll be really lovely to play them all in a row on a playlist. But in Back to Eden, I love this reference. Ego stripped away, spirit shines today. Ready for the light, union feels so right. Life is meant to be free for you and me. The garden calls us home. Adam's, Eve's, we roam. Today it's us. We are free, free, back to Eden. Yeah, definitely feeling the call. And I wonder if you are also feeling some calling to get back to what's real, back to what's true, back to where the world is living in prosperity and harmony and balance again. And it's up to us. It's up to us to find our way back to Eden.
Hero's journey from the start, face the trials with a wild heart, strength and faith in every breath, found ourselves on life's tough quest. In the wild we learned so much, lessons made by fate's rough touch, vitality and spirit strong, to the garden we belong. Time to return to the garden's gate, with gifts from fate and hearts that race. Transformed and wiser we embrace this sacred land, our peaceful place. Like Adam and Eve we roam, searching for our sacred home. New beginnings, wisdom grand, with open hearts we take a stand. Through the valleys, through the storm, we've been battered, we've been torn, yet our essence truly formed. To the garden we are sworn. Let the beauty fill our souls,
Okay, the next song is called A Grand Return to the Garden. Let's have a listen.
We tread the path our forebears made, in shadows where our dreams once strayed, with hearts united, hands entwined, to find the peace we left behind. Through trials, thorny vines we weave, our faith the shield we won't deceive. In valleys deep and mountains high, we seek the home where angels fly. Through trials, thorny vines we weave, our faith the shield we won't deceive. In valleys deep and mountains high, we seek the home where angels fly. A grand return to Eden's gate, where love and light our souls await. Adam's Eve, their spirits bloom within this sacred garden's room. The whispers of the winds that sing of promises and ancient spring. With every step, the stars align to guide us to the pure divine. In moments stitched by grace's thread, we mend the tales we've left unsaid. United in a tender grace, in divine garden we find our place. With every dawn, the sun will rise and mirror truth within our eyes. As nature calls, we shall ascend in Eden's arms, our worlds to mend.
Beautiful. A grand return to the garden, a grand return to Eden's gate, where love and light our souls await. Adam's Eves, their spirits bloom with the sacred, within the sacred garden's room, I think it said. So beautiful. Again, it's also the frequencies in the song. What does this inspire and awaken inside you when you listen to the melodies, you listen to the words, you listen to all of it put together? These are soul songs. These are soul songs for these times to engage and awaken and inspire the Adams and Eves inside us. Okay, this next song is called Returning Home.
The first made in God's image, so clear, a perfect divine blueprint with nothing to fear. A powerful creator with hands so strong, amazing Father where love always belongs. Enduring spirit through the storm, he stands tall. Centuries of separation faded like a wall. Now he's returning with purpose in sight, home to the garden where everything's right. Returning home to where hearts truly reign, walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection with purpose in sight, home to the garden where everything's right. Returning home to where hearts truly reign, walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection like stars in the night, in the embrace of love's eternal light. Echoes of the ages whisper in the trees, sacred stories carried by the gentle breeze. He steps forward with a heart full of grace. In the garden's embrace, he finds his place. Returning home to where hearts truly reign, walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection with purpose in sight. Home to the garden where everything's right. Returning home to where hearts truly reign, walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection like stars in the night. In the embrace of love's eternal light. Through shadows and long years, the journey's been made. Now in the garden where beauty won't fade. Every step taken leads closer to peace. In the arms of love where burdens release. Returning home to where hearts truly reign. Walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection with purpose in sight. Home to the garden where everything's right. Returning home to where hearts truly reign. Walking through the garden, shedding all pain. Divine connection like stars in the night. In the embrace of love's eternal light. I'm in the light.
Returning home to where hearts truly reign, walking through the garden, shedding all pain, divine connection with purpose in sight. That's also a big part of this call to the garden. It's divine connection with our purpose. It's connecting with the soul gifts that we have and the reason why we're here. We came for a reason. This is the season of that reason, this entire decade of the 2020s and going forward, because I truly believe our sense of time, creation itself, the garden, life on planet Earth and beyond will begin to feel different as we awaken to more of the truth of innovative technologies and suppressed technologies, things that have been kept from us in this 3D matrix where we needed to be kept small and contracted and subservient. When people break their own shackles and they move into the state of expansion and ascension. Okay, I have 4 more songs. The next song is Eve, the Great Mother.
Eve, the great mother with strength inside, earth healer journeyed with the tide. Trials and tribulations test her soul. She rises stronger, makes the world whole. Every step she takes renews the land, faith unwavering as she makes her stand. Breath of life in creation so divine, within her heart the stars align. She is the light in darkest night. She brings hope, fights with all her might. Eve, the healer, spreads her wings. In her embrace a new dawn sings. She whispers love to mountains high. Ocean depths reflect her sky. With every heartbeat the earth thrives. In her embrace since all things revive. Whispers love to mountains high. Ocean depths reflect her sky. With every heartbeat the earth thrives. In her presence all things revive. She paints the world in vibrant hues. Her spirit fierce, she'll never lose. From seed to tree, forest bloom and grow. In her wake new life will always show. Eve carries wisdom pure and true. From ancient times to skies of blue. Heals the wounds of time's cruel hand. With every touch she mends the land. In darkest night she brings hope, fights with all her might. Eve the healer spreads her wings, in her embrace a new dawn sings. She is the light in darkest night, she brings hope, fights with all her might. Eve the healer spreads her wings, in her embrace a new dawn sings. She is the light in darkest night, she brings hope, fights with all her might. Eve the healer spreads her wings, in her embrace a new dawn sings. She paints the world in vibrant hues, her spirit fierce she'll never lose. From seed to tree, forest bloom and grow, in her wake new life will always show. Eve carries wisdom pure and true, from ancient times to skies of blue. Heals the wounds of time's cruel hand, with every touch she mends the land.
That's so beautiful. Eve, the great mother, speaking about her as the earth healer. Eve, the great mother with strength inside. She rises stronger, makes the world whole. Eve, the healer, spreads her wings. In her embrace, a new dawn sings. There's so many elements to that song that are so powerful. They're talking about rebirth, the ability to heal, the ability to set things right, new dawns rising. Eve, the great mother, right? And I would also say there's elements of Eve inside us all, to rebirth, to be reborn, to rise and be a divine creator in our own lives. The next song is called Eve's Garden.
Eve, you stand tall like a tower of light. In your eyes we find the strength to fight. Through the ages you held us tight, guiding us back from endless night. Your enduring spirit we can't deny. Through trials and storms you always fly. With grace and warmth you heal the sight. Mother of all, you reach the sky. Oh Eve, amazing and true, you lead us back to the garden of you, bringing us closer to blessings we pursue. With love so pure and spirit that grew. Centuries of pain you faced with pride, yet you never let your soul collide. With every tear you dried inside, creator of a life where love resides. From Adam's rib you came to life, through you we find the will to strive. In times of dark you're our guiding light, returning us to God's delight. Eve, your heart a timeless flame, forevermore we'll speak your name. Through you the world is not the same, in your love we'll break all chains. Your enduring spirit we can't deny. Through trials and storms you always fly. With grace and warmth you heal the sight. Mother of all, you reach the sky. Oh Eve, amazing and true, you lead us back to the garden anew, bringing us closer to blessings we pursue. With love so pure to reach the sky. Oh Eve, amazing and true, you lead us back to the garden anew, bringing us closer to blessings we pursue. With love so pure to reach the sky. Oh Eve, amazing and true, you lead us back to the garden anew, bringing us closer to blessings we pursue. With love so pure and spirit that grew. Oh Eve, amazing and true, you lead us back to the garden anew, bringing us closer to blessings we pursue. With love so pure and spirit that grew. So pure in spirit that grew.
I really just bathed in the glow of the notes in that song and the words, but I did pick up on your enduring spirit. Oh, Eve, amazing and true, you bring us back to the garden anew. Eve is leading us back to the garden, and the energy of Eve and Adam are inside us. So when we look within and we do that inner work, that is what we're returning to. That is that invitation to return to the garden, right? So many songs about the garden. It's not by accident. And there's definitely a theme that I think isn't just today or the next time you listen to this message. I think this is going to be a theme for some time. Okay, the last song is Eve's Return.
Eve stands tall, a beacon bright, through the storms and through the night, guiding us through endless fight. Her spirit soaring to new height. Back to the garden she leads the way, through trials that won't sway. Eve, our light, our hopeful ray, God's blessings flow, come what may. Beautiful creator with hands so kind, heart endured yet never blind. In every hardship we will find Eve's strength forever intertwined. Back to the garden she leads the way, through trials that won't sway. Eve, our light, our hopeful ray, God's blessings flow, come what may. Centuries carved with tears and fears, yet Eve's spirit never veers. Past and future in her gears, her legacy through the years. Standing firm through endless rain, breaking free from every chain. With her grace we rise again, in her wisdom we'll remain. Garden she leads the way, through trials that won't sway. Eve, our light, our hopeful ray, God's blessings flow, come what may. Back to the garden she leads the way, through trials that won't sway. Eve, our light, our hopeful ray, God's blessings flow, come what may. God's blessings flow, come what may. Centuries carved with tears and fears, yet Eve's spirit never veers. Past and future in her gears, her legacy through the years. Standing firm through endless rain, breaking free from every chain. With her grace we rise again, in her wisdom we'll remain. We'll remain.
Eve's return. Wow. Back to the garden she leads the way, through trials that won't sway. Eve, our light, our hopeful ray, God's blessings flow, come what may. There's a song. This is a song. This is a story, like a soul story, a creation story. Her resilience is part of the creation story. Her love for humanity and her children is a creation story. Right? All of the serpent enticed and tempted deceptions and all of those things are part of the serpent's story. So there's a lot more to uncover of who Eve really is, but I think she has a lot to do with rebirthing our planet, with connecting us with the original blueprint of creation, with the breath of life Adam and Eve are both creationary beings, and there is a spark of them in us. And there's a deep calling to return to the garden, to bathe in the frequencies of their divine perfection that reflect our divine perfection. Such a powerful song and such a powerful series of songs in this song cluster, I guess, if you will. And now we have the final song in these soul songs today. It's called Starseed. It's the Color of the Magic song for week number 9. Let's have a listen.
Rise so high beyond stormy and gray sky. A starseed finds her way anew to reclaim what she always knew. Lost in dark woods for a while, but she wore a hidden smile. Finding light in the darkest night, she's home. It's always been her alright. Lost in dark woods for a while, but she wore a hidden smile. Finding light in the darkest night, she's home. It's always been her alright. You are the light, don't ever forget. In the stars where dreams are set, voice your song, let it ring through. This world is brighter cause of you. Through the shadows, through the haze, she's alive in 1,000 ways. Magic flows in her veins so bright, illuminate the endless night. Oh, beacon in the storm's release, whispers to the wild to find peace, creating colors, a hopeful ray. She turns the night into the day. You are the light, don't ever forget. In the stars where dreams are set, voice your song, let it ring through. This world is brighter cause of you. Release, she whispers to the wild to find peace, creating colors, a hopeful ray. She turns the night into the day. You are the light, don't ever forget. In the stars where dreams are set, voice your song, let it ring through. This world is brighter cause of you. Oh, this real of you. Cause of you. Through you. This world is brighter cause of you.
What a great song for all the starseeds listening today, and anytime that you come back to this playlist or this video about stage 9, about the ego's illusions and the psyops and the reclaiming of truth with a capital T. We are these starseeds, and a starseed finds her way anew to reclaim what she always knew. You are the light. Don't ever forget. This world is brighter because of you. It's brighter because of all of us. It's brighter because of the people who feel the frequencies of these messages and their own. We're called to inspire at a time where people are tired, right? And we may be tired, but if we tap into the enthusiasm and the inspiration, it's amazing what shifting an octave will do and how that shifts the outlook and your view of your light and your personal experiences right now. So let's just review one more slide about whole iceberg living that brings all of these messages into one. We are the called. We have all received an invitation to the greatest adventure of a lifetime, of a soul time. And that is the journey of ascension right here and now in these times. Mentors are here or will appear. Tests, allies, and enemies are part of the great return. Our soul skills that we have learned and continue to master along the way are some of our greatest companions right now. What is not a helpful companion? Our egos. They may even be the parts of us that resonate or serve the serpent's matrix, the serpent's 3D matrix. Our spirit souls don't resonate, but the ego aspects of us just might. Now is the time to focus on our creation stories, our soul's beginnings, because our soul's beginnings in the vision and heart of God, Source Creator, have frequencies beyond the psyops of this 3D matrix, beyond its illusions and the cast of characters that it wrote into its play, its theater. And we all know where attention goes, energy flows. So let's flow more energy into the garden that is summoning our return. That is a powerful focus and purpose of our whole iceberg living, this invitation to wholeness and integration that we're all receiving right now. And the reward of the hero's journey certainly corresponds to a reward of being invited to return to the garden, to admit ourselves by vibration in the ascension journey. So these are similar parallel journeys, just different octaves of perception and vision and experience. So I thank you. I thank you for joining me today until the end. I invite you to join my Substack page at frequencywriter.substack.com. You can also visit frequencywriter.com, which is the website that I have built and nurtured for many years, but mainly what's left there now are my Shine Your Light book series. There's about 8 or 10 books there, ebooks that you can purchase. And you can view my Freeing an Incarcerated World film trailer that I created with 2 other amazing souls. And you can read a little bit more about that story on my website there. But otherwise, if you're looking for my most recent posts and videos and messages, check Color the Magic on YouTube or your favorite streaming platform. And you can also check frequencywriter.substack.com. So please subscribe and share this video with people who could benefit from its messages. And keep an eye out for the coming playlist for the songs that you just listened to in this video. I will post those as their own music stream. And you can play that on the playlist here, Color the Magic, and also on substack.com. And thank you. Thank you for visiting with me. And I will see you again soon for more inspirational podcasts, messages, and musings about returning to the garden. Blessings, everyone. I'll see you again in December. Okay, have a great week. Bye for now.